The following podcast is sponsored by Words and Pictures Comics, located at 2610 Center Street, number 6. Words and Pictures is your one-stop shop for vintage back issues and cutting-edge graphic novels. Awesome service, great shop. Check them out. Welcome, everyone, to episode 254, Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pentelaresco. I write stuff in podcast 2. Today, my guest is Dwayne Clayden. Dwayne returns to the podcast, and we ended up going some unexpected territory here. Good territory, though. People that have gone through what Dwayne has gone through need the opportunity to share some of their story, and this was definitely one of those situations that it needed to be said, and Dwayne was very gracious enough to share the story with me and then by proxy you, my listeners. So this is a good conversation, and I think one everybody will enjoy. Dwayne's a good dude too. He's a great writer as well, so check out his books. Lots going on with me in the last little bit. This has been on a little later than usual because I've been doing a million things at once, it seems. First things first, though, I'm going to talk about my current sponsor, Words and Pictures. They are doing their free comic book day sale this Saturday, 10 to 50% off on various books throughout the store, just for free comic book day. You should go in for the free comics as well, but while there, you should also check out their sale. I frequent Words and Pictures myself all the time. They are one of the most amazing back issue selections in the city. On top of that, they also have amazing graphic novel selection, probably also one of the best in the city. Those are their specialties, and they do a great job of this. They're also very kid-friendly, so definitely check them out. Words and Pictures is at 2610 Center Street, so you can take a look at them there. All right, on with our conversation with Dwayne, and more good news after this. I mean, obviously there's some... Well, real quick here. Media. Okay, cool. So, yeah. So, basically, I've maxed out the sound. So, there's going to be a little interference just based on the fact that we're in a restaurant. That's all. That's just an inevitability. Yeah. But honestly, I've been told this because my podcast I always record in different locations. It's become part of the ambiance of the show.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's your stick.
Yeah. It's like, you don't do that. It's like, if I had a studio, I wouldn't do that. But since I do, right?
Yes, I get what you're saying, but...
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
I'm feeling fantastic. How about you?
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well done. Do you have 4 more coming?
No.
They just put you here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably just setting up for the rest of the rezos today.
Yes.
Here, I'll leave this for you. Can I get you something to drink besides the water today?
Yes. Guinness.
Nice.
I would have a tall, dark rum and Coke Light Ice, please.
Dark rum and Coke. Did you want the Captain Morgan's or did you want Appleton's?
Captain Morgan's, please.
Captain Morgan's? Okay. I'm going to tall, dark,
Light
ice. Gotcha.
Yep. Sorry.
No, it's
easy recorder.
Yeah, it's easy voice recorder. It's just it enhances the phone recorder. It's way better than the phone recorder because it makes better sound files.
Yeah.
Whereas phone recorders, MP3, that's great. Find the product there, but I can't edit you at all. I'm not gonna eat yet. Yeah.
I don't mean to either.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait till a little bit later on. You know.
Okay.
That's just me. I mean, it's your.
No,
yeah.
I had a big breakfast. So.
Yeah. So I guess we should do the official thing. Are you ready? Yes. All right.
Are we already recording?
What?
We're already recording.
We record the whole thing. It's all good.
Oh my God.
But it's okay. It doesn't really matter. I can edit. See, that's the real thing. I can hit the back button and edit it out, and it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're good.
Yeah. So, anything incriminating since last time we talked?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that question. Unfortunately, no. I would say the last year has been pretty boring, other than, I suppose, my Google searches, which...
Hey, well, listen. I don't judge anybody on their Google searches. What I've been looking up, like I'll tell you what I've been looking up because I'm launching my first science fiction series in the end of the summer. It's called The Cloud Diver.
Yeah.
So I'm already working on Cloud Diver 2. So I'm researching the human genome and kind of, we're going to be experimenting in like the next 20, 30 years what is possible for the human body. It's just that computer code and DNA ain't so far apart anymore.
Yeah.
So there are a lot more things possible. And one of the oldest questions in the book is how far can you manipulate things and still be a human being?
Yeah.
And that's like an old science fiction trope, but I think it's more apt today than it ever was.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So I'm looking up nanotechnology and replicators and psychology and I am completely out of my depth, but that's okay, right?
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's probably more interesting than mine because I've been. I started looking at money laundering, and I had an idea for a story that would be money laundering through a casino. And I was all excited about this, and then all of a sudden in the last month on the news, there's been a whole bunch of stories about money laundering through a casino. I'm thinking, oh, I hope they don't link my search with these stories.
Well, listen. Let's say, throw a hat on you. Let's suit you up just slightly more than you are right now. Yeah. You could totally be a gangster. Totally.
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually do have a double-breasted suit and a fedora.
But nice. So you pull it off. I mean, you could pull it off. You could look the part.
I just need a cigar, maybe, just out of the corner of my mouth. Not lit, just kind of there. No?
But they're better lit.
Oh, well, they are.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just are, you know?
Yeah, but the only place you can really have that is on the deck at your house. So it's always going to let you smoke a cigar anywhere else.
Well, no, but you know what? It's just... Sometimes, man, in this life, you just say, fuck it.
That's true.
So, yeah, you just literally just say, I mean, whatever. Yeah. And if you really want to punish me, sure, but do what you got to do.
That's right. We've been kicked out of better bars than this.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just one of those. It's one of those things. Like, life's short, man. I mean, I'm not. By the way, I am not advocating breaking the law. And my listeners out there.
Absolutely not. Hypothetical conversation.
They're totally hypothetical. But but at the same token, it's just like you only live once, and if you're not, I think everybody cheats a little bit.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, and I think it's necessary.
Oh, cheers.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you are.
And we'll be good for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do have a little patience. I am going to say real quick with all of us. We got down to 3 women serving today, and coupons run out tomorrow, so we might get a little slammed later. Okay, so I'm really sorry in advance if we get a little.
No, it's all good. I'm just doing it. We're just doing an interview for a podcast kind of thing. So probably for the next little bit, just
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
My name's Corey. Wave me down if you need it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
That way we won't have history repeat from last year.
That's right.
Yes. Not that, and again, all due respect, I understand that is not an easy job.
Oh no, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Like going back, we only live once, and a lot of people, again, everybody has pressure valves that kind of just we all need releases, and just it's human nature, right? Yeah. So it's just the way it is, right?
And I am trying to learn to drink and enjoy scotch. I'm not there yet. I'm still trying. The idea of, again, sitting on the deck with a cigar and a scotch in the hand. I'm trying, but I just can't get there.
It's not. It might not be you. Try. Yeah. You could do George Burns, red wine.
Yeah,
right. I mean, there was nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right. And also when as you get older, you become more bulletproof. It's true because nothing scares you anymore. It's like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. I've lived my life. Go.
Yeah. Yeah. Worked for George, that's for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. No. So I mean, there's that. So. Are you still going to do money laundering in the next book?
I don't think it's going to be the next book. So, March 14th was the launch of my second book, Outlaw, and that's the second in a series. I'm working on the third in a series, Wolfman's Back, and I hope to have that out by early fall. And then I'm switching to a different series, and there's a potential that money laundering could be in that one.
Another police or paramedic?
Police, yeah. So it's going to be probably rural Montana, a casino on I-15 South, maybe around Helena or something like that. And
that cop sounds like he already hates his casino.
Yeah.
He already sounds like he just hates it. He hates it.
Yeah. It's the pain in his butt. The pain in his existence is this casino.
Because he's there all the freaking time, and he's dealing with characters that he would just like to punch out.
Yeah. So on any given day, you come across some drunks and somebody who wants to scrap, But then you take a whole bunch of them and put them in one place, and especially where maybe the drinks are really cheap or free, and exponentially the problems just go up. And most security, or most casinos have really good security, but ultimately the police still have to get involved in this. And
Well, yeah. Actually, it's really interesting to me. Like when I go to a bar or you go like something like this, the security is everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And and again, they want to make sure everybody's having a good time. But yeah, I mean, but it's like I never want to be on the bad end of those guys because you're just like, because I have friends who've been bouncers and other things, and they're assholes.
Yeah. Well, and I even thought, and it may
Yeah.
still happen, is that I'd see if I could get a job in a casino, part-time job,
Yeah.
as security, and then I would know the inner workings. I mean, it'd be perfect research, and it's
Yeah.
not like that's going to be my career that I want to do that. But I think, okay, well, I could make some extra money, and there would be so many stories, so much stuff that I would get out of that, and I would absolutely know what I'm talking about
Yeah.
with a casino. So that may be in the future too.
I like your hands-on approach. It's really interesting, right? So, you think, yeah? So, have you applied yet, or are you still kind of like in that I'm thinking about it phase?
Well, I'm thinking about it phase, and I need to get to the point where I'm done with some of the writing, and then I'm really thinking about that one. But yeah, I'm a member of the Calgary Police Veterans Association, and we get job postings all the time through email.
Yeah.
And the casinos put postings up that they're looking for security, and it comes up, not every day, but they pop up every now and then. So there's an option there, and I think it would be an option that will be there when I need it. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're in a hurry.
No.
But that sounds fun. Like, you play. By the way, you play when you go to casinos. You gamble.
I am, I believe, the most unlucky guy in the world.
Yeah.
If I have a 50-50 chance of being right, I will be 100% wrong. So what we do go to Vegas. We're going in 18th of April. We're going to Vegas for five nights.
Yep.
And we kind of have a $20 a day limit. So I'll put my 20 in, and 47 seconds later, I'm done. Val puts $20 in, and I wander around for an hour and a half until she's done playing on that 20.
Last time I went to, my grandmother, like, she was really excited. Like, I put in 20, I won like $200, like immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm done. Let's go.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you just got. I won. Let's just go. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like whatever. No, let's stay a while. Okay, at least spend the spending money. Okay, spend some of the money you won. No, I'll spend $20. That's it. I'm not going a step past that.
Yeah. I should say that I'm not 100% unlucky, I guess. The last two times we went, our routine is we fly in Thursday night, drop their bags, and we go to Margaritaville.
Okay.
And have something to eat, and there's usually a live band there, and it's great. And then after dinner and maybe a wobbly pop or two, we head to the casino. And the last two times, I have won.
Nice.
Yeah, so one was $180, so that was actually really good. The other was about $75 or something.
Which, you know what?
I paid for dinner, I paid for the drinks, but if I gamble other than the Thursday night, no, it's not going to work. So now I'm into the superstition that I can only gamble outside Margaritaville's on Thursday night when we first arrive.
No, and there's nothing wrong with being a little superstitious about that, because if it works, why worry about it, right?
Yeah.
Man. But it sounds like you're going to have some fun anyway.
Yeah, it'll be a nice break. I'll be going hard on writing and that sort of stuff. So that'll be go down there, and I'm not going to take any writing stuff with me. I'll take a couple of books. Hopefully the weather's nice. We'll sit by the pool, take it easy, and we're actually going to do a tour out to Hoover Dam.
Yep.
And then out to the Grand Canyon. So that'll be one of the days, and go to Fremont Street and people watch and character watch.
Oh yeah, no. I'm doing the character panel tonight. It's great. So I get to tell. I'm not going to tell. I never will name names. But the beautiful thing about this podcast is I get to meet some amazing people.
Yeah.
And they share things.
Yeah.
But they're like, and I know this because you've been a paramedic and a cop. There's a category in your brain of things I know I have no use to know.
Yeah.
And it comes, in my case, it comes from a very, people trust me, and I don't take that lightly. But the same token, it's like, I didn't need to know at the same time.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. So I mean, that's sort of the character. That's where the character stuff comes in, right? And it's like, so that's why my characters are a little absurd.
Yeah.
A little. I meet characters all the time, even when I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's just something that gives me. It's like, hey, you can trust this guy. Like.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well,
yeah.
For podcasts, that's absolutely perfect.
Yes.
I'm only halfway through this drink and I'm telling you all my secrets.
Yeah, I know. He's a superstitious gambler and you know he's a gangster.
Yeah.
We got gangster.
So do you have a gangster?
Yeah. So do you have a gangster name?
No.
Oh, you need a gangster name.
I need a gangster name.
Yeah.
Dwayne doesn't quite cut it. We gotta come up with something.
D Clay. D Clay. That's it. We go with that. D Clay. Does that work?
That almost sounds like a rapper though.
Okay. How about that felt close though. That felt close.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about that. We'll work on that while we drink our booze. So having a good time at the con?
Yeah, this is good. I was really pumped about coming here and really excited.
Yeah.
Did a presentation yesterday that went really well, and a panel, and then 2 panels this morning, and they both just went well. The second one I moderated, and I decided that I wasn't going to participate. I was just going to be the moderator and lead things, and fire out the questions and keep it going. And I think it went really good. I think that worked good because I didn't have to think about how I was going to respond to a question. I could listen to their answers and come up with the next question or the next lead spin-off. And
I was a moderator this year with the podcast panel. I kind of feel like after I won last year that I don't really need to toot my own horn anymore. Not quite to the same degree anyway, right? So I did get involved a couple times, but I tried to stay out of it as much as I could.
Yeah.
Right? One of the guests, I shouldn't have been there.
And that's the tough one, right?
Yeah.
And probably the one who's taking most of the airtime.
Actually, I was really good at making it smooth.
Yeah.
I was really, I made it. You can't not let them speak.
Oh.
You can't do that. What you can do though is go like, okay, you, then you, then you, and be polite, but just keep it going and moving, and because again, the other 2 panelists, they were great. Like they both do amazing things. One of them we did the panel together last year. I knew she was going to bring some really good stuff to the table.
Yeah.
All right, and the other one is, and we focused on narrative podcasts, which I thought was cool because I don't do one yet, right? But it's a good thing because it's audio's an art form in and of itself. It's a really big art form. So, actually, speaking of which, you do have seriously, are you going to narrate your stuff? Because you're talking about, you're asking
do my own books?
No. Like take your books, Outlaw, and like the audio, like making the audio books of it. You have a good voice for it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I would have to train on, like, even when I do readings, I really struggle with, okay, so I've got 3 characters in a reading, rather than the same voice for each one, or when there's tension in it, that everybody's tension sounds the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I probably need some coaching on that, because I'm not really sure
actually,
how you do that.
Actually, a really interesting thing, then, let's go with this way. When you write your characters, do you, like the voices are distinct in your work?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So what do they sound like in your head?
Huh.
I actually did it's a quick guy.
Good. Yeah. Well, I guess when I'm really into it, the characters are writing. I feel like I'm not writing.
Yeah,
and they're
exactly.
doing the things they would do. But
you hear them. You know what I mean? You just hear them.
Yeah.
Right. I made a very cowardly character, so I kind of have this like little Peter Parker squeaky voice. It's not entirely dissimilar from my own voice, but it is different, right? And you can hear the difference, right? I don't know. I imagine voices when I write. Maybe I'm just
No, I'm with you. I very much.
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you can do them, right? But what all that going to say is, if you ever do decide, because again, you have a very, very good voice for an audio. If you ever decide to do that, right? You obviously can't duplicate some voices.
Yeah.
But maybe you can do. But you do hear that tension, and you do hear that cadence, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Right. So even like if let's say you did an audiobook, I know, and I'm spitballing here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm completely bullshitting, so I don't know if I'm actually on anything or not. I would probably do it like each character separately, because that way it would be because you can splash the audio together however you want to splash it, right?
Right.
But let's say you're doing dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you can't go back, if you can't do the back and forth, right?
Yeah.
What you maybe be able to do is you're like, okay, so let's say, we're just going to say, for example, let's say one of the characters is Max, and he's a douchebag.
Yeah.
You can make him douchier and douchier, and that's only just one take, like maybe one take, but you do pauses so you can kind of fit stuff in, but also you can kind of do something different, right? And then that's the other character isn't a douche, maybe, but he's a badass, and he doesn't like the douche. Yeah, I can't believe this is where we're going in this conversation, right? But what I mean by that is, it's like now you're not doing a back and forth conversation. You're just doing one character,
and you're in that character's head, that character's voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Emotion.
Exactly, and then that you do that character.
Yeah.
Because narration's narration.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's when you get to the dialogue and when you get to those like little character bits.
Yeah.
Is when you want that character's voice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be playing with that, I guess.
Well, and I think the other thing, it's something I should do anyway, is read out loud my story.
Yeah.
Because then I would find that the tongue twisters, and so if it's a tongue twister for me to say, it might be a tongue twister for the reader to read, and I would probably find places where I could improve the story just by reading it out loud.
No, absolutely no. That's a huge thing. Although, interestingly, this is an interesting thing I've learned with audio. It's actually good to leave a couple mistakes in the audio.
Oh.
It feels more natural.
I'm good with that. I could do that.
Yeah. Not every scene, mind you.
No.
But like leaving an odd mistake. There was a music album I really like. Finger 11 did a self-titled album. He kept a whole bunch of their mistakes in the album.
Yeah.
Right. But when you hear it, it feels like if you stop and you pause, you can hear the mistakes. Huh. But when you're listening to it in full like real time, it feels very like authentic. It gives almost like a live feel to it. Does that make sense?
Makes 100% sense.
Yeah. Like, so you leave like one, like you leave deliberately leave a couple errors in there because you know what? Maybe he does get tongue-tied at his own stuff.
Yeah.
I actually leave a lot of ums and ahs in the podcast because it sounds natural.
Yeah, so that'd work for dialogue. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, and even sometimes writing, I want to put the ums and ahs in there.
Yeah.
But in the writing, it doesn't.
In the writing, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not polished.
But verbally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, especially you've been a paramedic. People don't sound perfectly coherent when they're in pain.
Yeah.
At all.
No.
At all. Right? People don't sound perfectly coherent when they're scared. Right? Either. They don't. They need new pairs of underwear. Kind of scared. They're not going to talk. They're not going to talk like a normal human being. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
There we go.
This is
good spin-off here.
Yeah. I'm giving you some ideas for your audiobooks.
Yeah.
Right? D. Clay. No. That's right. But no, it sounds like things are going really well for you.
Yeah. I think so. Last year, my mind was in a not great place. So I mean, that was from 40 years in emergency services. I was diagnosed with PTSD, and
which honestly makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And part of the problem was when I started, it was suck it up muffin. Like if you can't handle it, quit. And so you internalize things and all those, and then that carried on. And even though when there was a little more talking about it, I was wired. So I would look after you. If you worked for me, one of my crews, and you went to a horrific call, I either went to the call, or I met you at the hospital, or I met you for coffee afterwards to make sure you were okay. But I didn't look after myself. That's
a common problem.
Absolutely.
And honestly, healers make the worst fucking patients.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because you don't want to admit something's wrong. You just don't. No, and then the next thing you know is one day you wake up and you realize you can't run from it anymore. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, and that was absolutely it. I was fine at noon on Monday, and at 1:30 when I went to my doctor's appointment because I've got a bad knee, I wasn't fine. And 45 minutes, my doctor came in and said, "Oh, you look like shit." And 45 minutes later, I stopped talking. And she said, "You're off work." And that's how it hit. Now, there's no doubt that when I look back that things had been happening along the way, that I wasn't as sharp on things and that sort of thing. But truly, I went in that Monday morning and I did the things I needed to do and was full of energy. And at 1:30, I wasn't.
You hit your limit.
Yeah.
It happens to all of us, man.
Yeah.
I described this to a friend. We all have a cup. Once it gets to brimming, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
But you're better now, or feeling better, or you're feeling better at least.
I'm on the road. I mean, there were some tough things with it. I can never work in emergency services again. So I could never work in it or with anything related to it. That's gone. And so I didn't get to do that on my terms. So I didn't hit the 40th year and have a big, party at the pub where everybody I had worked with for 40 years, or a bunch of them came and told Dwayne stories and mocked me and all that sort of stuff. A year and a half ago, I just disappeared from EMS. I was just gone, and nobody knew where I was. And I didn't want people to know where I was because, we talk about PTSD a lot more now. Mental health is talked about a lot more, but there's still a stigma. Oh yeah, at least for me, I felt that. And I was Superman, and that was my kryptonite. And I didn't want to, I guess, admit I was human. I was fallible.
That's very normal. There's also another mortality to it too. You guys deal with life and death all the time, or you did deal with life and death all the time, every day. Some days you won some battles, some days you lost.
Yeah.
But the worst thing, I'm sure, one of the worst nightmares for you guys, probably for a lot of you, whether you realize it or not, is seeing yourselves on the other end of that. Because it's that's a hard, and seeing somebody like a friend, even a friend like that would be it's a reminder of our mortality.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm on the rebound. I feel like the old Dwayne is coming back. So, I know we did this interview last year. I can listen to it. I know I spoke here. I just have this feeling that I wasn't all here. But this year, I feel like I'm here. I'm engaged, I'm pumped, I'm talking to people, even on the plane. I never talk to people on the plane.
Yes.
And sat down next to this guy, and I had my dress jacket, and I was looking for a place to put it, and he goes, oh, right there, I got mine there, just put your jacket on top of it. I said, oh, okay. So I did that. We talked the whole flight out. Unheard of for me generally, but especially over the last year.
Those are some of the best conversations too.
Oh yeah.
No, they totally are. Because you meet people, you never get this. It's almost like you get these windows of opportunity to meet these really interesting people.
Yeah.
And you never see them again usually.
Yeah.
But sometimes some things you talk about, they're like those are like the best moments and conversations. And sometimes they kind of can change it too for the better, right? So.
Yeah. But last year, I would have immediately put my earplugs or earphones in for my Walkman. Maybe not even have turned on music, but just so that I had them in and people wouldn't talk to me. They would think I was listening. That's where I wanted to be. I didn't want to talk. And so, doing the podcast last year, I did some acting. I did some teaching. I can turn it on.
Yeah.
For 45 minutes. I can turn it on for an hour. But last year, after that hour, I crashed. And so after those things, I would go to my room in the hotel, and I would lie down for an hour or two till I got some energy back, and then I could come back out into the world again for another hour or two.
You need some healing time.
Yeah. And noise.
Yeah.
Noise really, it's just overwhelming. Like it's not good white noise.
No.
It's just this horrible noise all around. And even still, where was it? Yesterday at one point, I think it was in the kind of 5 o'clock session. When I first went in there, it was really loud and people were talking all over the place. And that was like neurons in my head were just firing all over the place. And I was just looking around because it was all this noise around me. Whereas before, I wouldn't even notice that. I mean, I did calls at the Saddle Dome at hockey games where people had heart attacks. And crowds cheering and booing. I never heard any of that.
No.
Because I was in the zone with the patient. But now, I feel that, hear that more around me than I did
It's also
before.
because you're a little bit more, you're more introverted because you write more, right? So when it's almost like you're in a bubble, and then you're coming back into the pond, and now you're noticing all those waves you never noticed before. You're like, this is different. I don't know where this came from exactly, right?
I don't like it.
Yeah, I want to go back into the shallow end of the pool. Mommy, yes, but it's okay too.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing too, just on a mental health note, it's good to know that I'm at my limit. It's time I need a timeout.
Timeout.
Yeah. Or I need booze, one or the other.
Well, they usually go together.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. I don't know if Valerie will ever listen to this, but I mean, it's great too when family are around, and I can just tell Valerie I need a timeout, and she gets it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not that I would ever abuse that.
No. It's also just understanding too what your partner needs, right? And there are times. I'm sure it goes the other way too. She needs her space. She's like, I love you, dear, but I need my own room right now.
Yeah.
Get out. And you're like,
she'll go for walks.
Yeah.
So that's good.
No.
Yeah, at one point, as I was kind of climbing out of the hole I was in, I asked her, how bad was it? And she said, well, you were pretty delicate for a while.
But again, that's what a good partner does. So they're there when you're not at your best.
Yeah.
She was
fantastic.
And that's when you know you have a good partner. So right, because it's easy to be there when things are good.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to be there when things aren't.
Yeah.
So no.
We're really off topic.
Well, but it's okay. This was a conversation you needed to have, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't have any rules about what goes on the podcast. I said we start with where things have been since, and this is where we went.
There we
right?
go.
Yeah. So, but it does sound like at least you're definitely in a better place. It sounds like you are in a better place for sure. If you're not completely there yet, you're getting there, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you need, and hopefully, like, things keep onward and upward, right, for you.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you are enjoying your writing life at this point, and things seem to be going quite well there.
Yeah.
Right. And it also sounds like, though, it also kind of sounds like you're looking for some new challenges too.
Yeah, I've always been the guy who didn't sit still. In EMS over this 37 years I was in EMS. 3 years in a job, and I was looking for a new challenge. Probably the most I ever stayed in one job was 5 years during that time, and looking for new challenges. So I'm trying to break that a little bit.
Yeah.
That writing is what I want to do. And I think those side paths might be, like I said, it might be 3 months working at a casino to figure out what that's about, or there's lots of different jobs that then get posted, like I said, through that website. Maybe an opportunity that comes up. They're looking for a part-time person to do background checks for paramedics or for police officers or something like that. That's what I would use as an interim measure, but it wouldn't be that I'm dropping everything now and that's what I'm going to do. So writing will still be the main thing, and I might have these little side adventures.
But that's not a bad thing either, because honestly, I mean, in your position, I'd be trying to find all the fun stuff to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I totally would be, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, for me, weirdly, I'm pretty excited about this casino gig.
I know.
Like if it came through, I mean, probably after the first couple of days when I'm the rookie and I'm standing at the door greeting everybody coming in and I don't get to see anything else going on, I might not think it's so great anymore when I'm standing there for 8 hours. But to be in that, and like I said, it's not going to be a career change. I'm not in it. I would do part-time and see how it goes, and then make friends, get the inner workings, and then what I write becomes realistic. And I guess that's the thing I'm really big on with my writing, is I want it to be realistic.
Yeah.
I want the police scenes to be realistic, not what you see on TV and movies, to what really happens. The same with paramedics. And a lot of the time paramedics in TV and movies is just brushed over. The guy gets shot, the ambulance comes, takes him away, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, well, I said this to you last year. I don't and I'm going to be very honest, I don't necessarily respect doctors. Not because I don't think a doctor is not respectful, but I also know what a doctor knew 30 years ago and what a doctor knows today. Very different job description now.
Oh, yeah.
But a paramedic has to know their shit in and out. paramedics and nurses are probably the most educated medical people out there, right? I don't know who's more, but it's close, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they deal with the life and death stuff every single day. It's not the doctors, it's not the surgeons, it's the it's the people that go in and day out. So the reason I think it's dismissed as much is because it's not glamorous.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot of knowledge, and there is drama. It's quick.
Yeah.
But it's quick.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no big build up to it usually. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I'd argue maybe a little bit that. So I've been a firefighter.
Yeah.
I've been a police officer, and I've been a paramedic.
Yeah.
And I would say being a paramedic was the hardest.
I believe it.
Of the three. So pretty much every day you're put in some life and death situation.
Yeah.
And that you don't know what it is what makes it tough. So like you're saying, 5 seconds from now, if we were paramedics sitting here having lunch and somebody collapsed at the table right next to us, I've got like 5 seconds to figure out what's going on and start a treatment regimen. It's not like, like you're saying with the doctor, well, the paramedics brought him in, the nurse looked at the patient, and eventually the doctor comes in.
Yeah.
I got to decide right now. And then we take care of him. We walk out the door, and there's a traffic accident right in front of us. Totally different. Totally different set of rules, but right away.
And that's my point, right?
Yeah.
So I said, I don't know who actually is more educated between a nurse and a paramedic, because it's really close. Because, right? Yeah. But you guys, they do the day in and day out work. You're the ones that make the assessments. You're the ones that do the stuff that really works, because if you don't, right, and that's it. By the way, I am not disrespecting. There are a lot of good doctors out there too. You guys say this, but if I'm but personally, I probably would listen to a paramedic more than I would to a doctor. It's just
Well, I think it's situational too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I truly believe that paramedics are the expert in pre-hospital care. So I train to deal with your emergency. I'm not trained to deal with you even an hour later.
Yes.
Or days later. That's where the doctors and the nurses fit in.
Yeah.
I'm trained for right now. What do I need to do to keep you alive till I get you to the hospital? That's my focus.
Yeah.
And so I mean, different roles in there. But I think for me, that's what's missing.
Yeah.
Is in the police show or the police novel, where the guy is shot, what happens when the paramedics get there till the hospital is freaking interesting. And so that's what I put in my stories. I put the treatment in where they're putting a tube down their throat, where they're starting the IVs, the drugs they're giving, the patient goes into cardiac arrest, they start doing CPR. I put all those things in because that's tension. Is this guy going to live? Is this guy going to die? So I put that sort of thing in. So I'm obviously on my soapbox right now about this, but I think that's exciting stuff. And in my novels, when people read that, they comment on that. Wow, I didn't know paramedics did this. No, that was cool.
No, like it's an incredible attention to detail. It is really an incredible detail. You're literally honestly my next. I still have your book. I'm reading Fonda Lee right now. You're literally next. So I mean, so it makes you feel better. World Fantasy Award winner just trumped you, but I'm sorry. But
All right.
She's a World Fantasy Award winner.
Yeah.
Hi, Fonda. So one day.
But next year,
no.
I'll be on the top of your list.
No. I actually, you're literally next on my list.
Okay.
So I mean, you're literally next. I made a conscious decision this year. I'd be reading more books. I'm a part timer on my day job now because I won and I kind of want to see where I can go with this from here.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, but I also know that it's a process. I'm almost like I'm starting all over again in one sense, but I'm also kind of rebuilding from the. But I'm also I've been amazed to watch what's been going on. It's been really, really good stuff. So, But it sounds like you're entering a new phase in your life.
Yeah.
And it sounds, and I think all in all, you're excited for it, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and I think it's acceptance. This is where I am. I'm not going to work in EMS or emergency services again. I don't twitch every time my phone rings or buzzes because for the last 12 years I was on call 24/7. So I always had a work phone with me, and even at night that work phone was on. So I get called. So it took a while to get used to. I don't need to carry a phone with me all the time. I don't need to. My heart rate doesn't need to go to 120 every time a phone rings, and I still turn towards sirens, though. If I hear sirens, it's still kind of that. And then I'm listening, I'm going, oh, that's a police car. Oh, no, that one's a fire truck. Oh, there's the ambulance now. Okay, they're all three going to that.
Which I don't think that will ever get old. No. But again,
No.
but honestly, that's not a bad thing.
Oh no.
No, I mean that's.
But the heart rate doesn't spike.
Well, but that's the important part.
It's more just curiosity and listening and knowing. Okay, well, if all three are going, it's hitting the fan.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's an ambulance and there's no other sirens, okay, well, they don't need any help there, I guess. And
well, it's probably a more personal emergency, right?
Yeah.
If
Medical
it's,
emergency.
Yeah. If it's just a fire, it's like, okay, someone was an idiot. If it's all three, oh shit. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. It's like, but that's the way it goes. But it sounds like, but honestly, surprisingly vulnerable. And I'm not saying that in a bad way.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. That honestly just took a lot of guts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I. Yeah. Vulnerable is it, because I still have to become the fun. Not the funny thing. Weird thing. I don't even know it's weird. Is that writing is my therapy.
Yeah.
But the demons in my head are the things I will never write about. Those things will never go onto paper. So I've reprogrammed on those. They're still there, but I can deal with them. But those are things that I wouldn't, at least right now, would never come out. So I can write about EMS, I can write about police, I can write about fire, but they're over to the side things.
No. I get you. I'm gonna say this as your friend, and if you want, I will make sure it's not actually not in. And no, I'm being your friend here, right?
Yeah.
I know. I'm not even going to begin to understand everything you've been through. I am not qualified to say that. I do hope, though, this is just as a friend, I do hope at some point you can let your demons go, or at least downsize them as time goes on. Simply because you don't need to. If it not to sound like, again, if I sound really preachy, don't. No. I just, you don't need to carry those burdens anymore, and you're not your scars.
Yeah.
You let them go, you're still going to be Dwayne.
Yeah.
Or D Clay.
D Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm at the point now where we're having this discussion.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to many people about it.
No.
I'm starting to talk about it, and I will write the story at some point in time. And it might just be I write it for me.
Yeah.
And it never sees the light of day. I might write it and put it aside for a while, and then pull it out and decide now's the time I'm ready to give this.
I made a promise towards the end of last year for me. Not this is quite the same thing. I had a really, really hard go in my life during my time in Arizona. It definitely shaped me who I am today. I had to deal with a lot of my own demons during that particular point in time.
Okay.
I'm not going to, this is not like a pissing contest at all. No.
We all go
that's for sure. No, it's not pissing, but I promised I'd write a memoir about it because how it shaped me to such a degree. That's a good story, and it really needs. And my sister, and not just my sister, but when a comedian, a friend of mine, horror associated me, that's a good story. You should actually just tell that story.
Yeah.
Maybe what you might need to do at some point. You don't, and the beautiful thing about memoir, it's not necessarily everything. It's just like a particular point in time.
Yeah. Right.
Write that particular point in time when you're ready to. Obviously, not before then. When you're ready to write it, right? And if you release it as a memoir or something like that, it's a smaller piece.
Yeah.
And it's outside of Dwayne Clayden's continuity of fiction, right?
Yeah.
Right. Just something. And you're right. It might be just for you.
Yeah.
Right. But it might that might be the way to go about doing it. It's a suggestion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, it might work out that it's the piece that I put out, so somebody recognizes the signs and symptoms first. Here's what I went through, and here's what I didn't realize was happening, or things like that. I mean. The first line I've already used is, I was good and then I wasn't.
And honestly, a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like no joke. There's
in all sorts of different ways.
A lot of people go through that moment in their lives. Like, it's not good. What that like it hits you. Whatever that is, it just hits you. It resonates, and you're like, I need to deal with this, right? And that's
And often it's not the big thing.
No.
It's the accumulation, and that truly the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the last thing, and like you're, cup overflowing, whichever,
whatever metaphor you like.
Whatever you like.
Yeah.
That the last straw.
Yeah.
Truly, that was it, and I was done.
Yeah, but like for me, when I went to fix the teeth, it wasn't me actually making the decision to fix the teeth that was the overflowing moment. It was that when it resonated inside, you're not just fixing your teeth, you're fixing a lot of other things that were in there that you didn't realize were in there.
Right.
All those years, and it's like that's when that couple words like got to that, like, and it's like, but then when I let it go, so Adam, he said this to me earlier this weekend. Your armor's gone. It almost feels like so long ago since you fixed your teeth, right? It's the armor, whatever armor you had, it's gone. Yeah, I'm not the same person anymore, and that's. I'm a little bit more of an open asshole. But I mean, we all can be honest about that, right?
Yeah.
We all have to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's the point, right? I mean, that acceptance of self is a really, really, really powerful thing.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, this was not what I expected, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So, how about we do this?
Yep.
This will air right now. So you just launched your book. Why don't you talk about your book and how people can find you, and we'll call it a happy interview.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so I March 14th launched my second book. It's called Outlaw MC, and it's the second in the series. First book was Crisis Point, came out a year ago, and it's about main character is Brad Coulter. He's a police officer in Calgary. I've said it in Calgary and I've said it in the 70s because that's when I was a police officer. So the right what you know sort of thing, but there's also lots of interesting things that were happening then. So Outlaw MC is outlaw motorcycle clubs, and it's about a gang motorcycle club war in Calgary fighting for control of prostitution and drugs and extortion and those sorts of things. And then the police end up kind of caught in the middle, so it's almost like it's a three-way fight. You got the two biker clubs, Gypsy Jokers and Satan Soldiers, and then the police are kind of in the middle, but the two clubs are fighting each other, and the police are trying to stop the fighting, and when they go after one club, then the other club, gets an advantage, and so it goes back and forth. So it's I think it's pretty fast-paced and dark, and it's probably a side of some of the events were from Calgary. Montreal also had a big biker war in the 80s, so I borrowed pieces from all of those to put together the story. But I think it's a pretty accurate portrayal of that life and what was happening. And then I'm working on the third one in the series, which is called Wolfman's Back. I can't tell you too much about that because it's linked to the second book a little bit. Well, actually, it's linked to the second book a lot. So the second book has an ending. So it's not like there's a cliffhanger. The cliffhanger starts when you read the first chapter of book 3, and if you've read book 2, you'll go, oh shit. Hopefully you'll do that and go forward. So that one is probably at least a half of it is already edited, and I'm hoping that by fall that one will come out too. So I'm in the motion of a year between the first two books, probably 6 months between the next two, and if things keep going, every 6 months would be the kind of idea. Yeah. And then after Wolfman's Back, the third one, then I'm going to take a break from the Brad Coulter series and write a totally different
and which sounds very exciting. Like I said, we're still working on his gangster name, ladies and gentlemen. We still are. We'll figure it out next time.
By next year at this time, we'll have a gangster
name. Yeah. But beyond that, how can people find you on?
Right. Yeah. So you can find me at DwayneClayden.com. So that's DwayneClayden.com. The books are on Amazon, Kindle and print, and then also on Kobo.
Very cool. All right.
And that was my conversation with Dwayne Clayden. Outlaw is currently available now. It's book 2 of the series. Book 1 was amazing. I can't wait to actually get my hands on book 2 and read it. I want to thank Dwayne for coming on the show. And like as always, buddy, you are welcome back anytime you'd like. So, lots of cool things are going on. Lots of cool things are happening. So let's get the first one out of the way. Dad, if you're listening to this, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. You live in a zoo. Happy birthday, dear Dad. Happy birthday to you. So, let's talk about a couple things. First off, Mirrorwell Publishing currently has the Watcher series on special off their website. You can simply go get the ebook for free right now. Go onto the website, go in there, or record, type in epic poem. You can definitely download the Watcher for free and give a read. And if you like it, send a nice review. That'd be greatly appreciated. But let's talk about the other thing. Starting next week, Bundarin Press is officially a sponsor. Bundarin Press is a science fiction publishing house run by Hayden Trenholm, who's been on the show a couple times. Hayden is an amazing writer in his own right, but he's an awesome publisher. He's produced some many great books from people like Gerald Brandt. He's published stories from people like Krista Wallace. He's published stories from Jennifer Ron. And, Transient City is an amazing piece of work by Al Anya. It's fantastic. You definitely should check it out. But his anthologies, 49th Parallels, that's going to be one of the books given away, is fantastic. I'm really, really stoked for this. I'm really stoked to have this partnership, and I want to thank Hayden and Bundarin Press specifically for giving me this opportunity. And that will do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so a number of different ways. You can subscribe to the podcast, Podomatic, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. I am on all those avenues. You can definitely check me out. I would encourage you to do so. There's some great stuff there. You can check out my YouTube archive with Joshua Pantellaresco. The first 100 episodes are now all completely up there. And, just looking at that list, that's an incredible amount of people to chat with. There's currently 170 episodes up there that you can listen to. More are being added each week. Outside of that, my books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God, Mirrorwell Publishing. Like I said, there's a special on right now. You can definitely check that out. Mile Zero coming soon. But above all else, guys, stay inspired out there. Keep doing your thing, whatever that is. And I'll talk to you next time.
Josh.